It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's showtime. I'm looking at the wrong monitor. I apologize. That's when you got a lot going on. Welcome. It is Thursday, or as I like to call it, Friday Eve. Time for the Geno Jones Show. We come to you L-I-V-E. That's L-I-V-E, live. New blazer here. Hopefully you all like it. Monday through Friday. So I'm back 5 days a week. I'll be taking, as a matter of fact, in about 3 weeks, I'll be taking some time, but I'm going to be doing a show on location. My firstborn daughter is having her first child, my first grandchild, Hendrix. Hendrix spelled with an X, like Jimi Hendrix. Hendrix Blue, B-L-E-U, Hendrix Blue Vaughn. So they just had the baby shower. That was Saturday, so I was talking about it yesterday. So anyway, around the 17th or 18th, couple days, and then we'll be doing some shows on location. More on that later, but I'm here now in the Geno Media Studios. Now, Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Central Time. All right, hello, Chicago. Everybody on Central Time. Texas, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Beaumont, all of Texas. All right. So you got this huge U.S. Senate race with James Tallarico and Deadeye. I call him Deadeye Dick. Ken Paxton, Mr. Deadeye. It is amazing. I'll get more into that tomorrow. But it's just amazing that some people can have, you could, even like your own political party, they like basically kick your ass out because of all the corruption and the stealing and dirty dealing, and then, you just openly cheat on your wife, and then you having an affair with a married woman, and you breaking up, and folks don't care. It's like, and a lot of these good Christian, these God-fearing white Christian evangelicals, man, I swear to God, I don't know who you all's Jesus or God is, but good luck with that. It ain't going anywhere, because if y'all God is going, and Jesus is co-signing on all of that, yeah. Anyway, I digress. So, but show up like South Carolina did in terms of voting, early voting. As a matter of fact, I'll be talking about that in a second, which will lead me to tonight's guest. All right, everybody on the West Coast, 4:30 p.m. That's when we do the show, 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon, 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central Time. Out there in Denver, Mountain Town, that would be 5:30. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to my Geminis. All right, Geminis, it's your time to shine. But shout out to all the May babies. So us Tauruses, we're good. We had our time to shine. Well, we are May babies, all the May Tauruses. Now it's time for the May babies, the Geminis who are born in May. It is your time to shine. I missed it yesterday, so happy belated birthday to my man Andre Benjamin, a.k.a. Andre 3000 from Outkast. Happy heavenly birthday to one Lisa Left Eye. Shout out to Left Eye, Lisa Left Eye Lopez from TLC. She would have been double nickel. I call it the double nickel, 55. And Andre was the big nickel plus one. I call 50 or 50. That's the big nickel. When you hit 50, that's the big nickel. All right. Today, happy birthday to one icon, legend, true R&B, just true legend. And when it comes to a singer, one of the true legends of all time. And one of my favorites, Gladys Knight, 82 today. And a very special personal happy birthday to my sister. So the middle child. So she is the firstborn daughter of my mom. I'm the oldest and the only boy. And then there's Nanette, and there's Angela, the baby girl, who I got to hang out with over the weekend at the baby shower for my daughter. So Nanette, the sister in between me and Angela, the baby girl, today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Nanette. I love you. Take care of yourself. Protect your peace. Please just be the best version of yourself and believe in yourself, Nanette, and bet on yourself. Because I love you, and never give up on yourself, and just love yourself. If you love yourself the way I love you, and the way all of us, all the rest of Mother and Angela, all of us, your family, your daughters, your grandkids, great grandkids, we love you. If you love yourself as much as we love you, you'll be fine. Just protect and take care of your mind, body, soul, and spirit. Mind, body, soul, spirit. They're all connected. So thank you, guys. I just had a little personal note there to my sister. All right? She's back in Chicago. Early voting here in South Carolina. So let me start off. Listen, when we vote and when we all vote, especially, I'm speaking to Black America. All right? And I'm speaking to all of America that believes in humanity, because now we are living in a time where it's a choice. It's way beyond policies, because we have two choices on the table. Humanity, you lean into humanity, or inhumanity. It's that simple. And humanity or inhumanity is tied into the policy decisions that you have one political party and you have one regime. But shout out to South Carolina. Shout out to the Black voters of South Carolina who really showed up. They showed up for themselves. They showed up for their family and friends and neighbors and church members and co-workers and fraternity, sorority and fraternity brothers and sisters. So listen, they showed up for themselves and showed up for each other, and they stood up for themselves and each other, and they spoke out for themselves and each other with their votes. So Tuesday, the early vote, the very first day of early voting was Tuesday. Nearly 40,000. That was the last number I had. Now, it may be updated. My guess, she can update it for me. The last number I got was nearly, I think, was it 40? I think might have been more than that. But let's put it this way. I'm just going to say, I'm around off 40, so probably more than 40,000. And I did see some numbers, I think, to second day of early voting, there was nearly, no, I had it right. So Tuesday, nearly 70,000 people showed up on day one. Nearly 40,000 showed up on day two. There we go. I get it. So the roughly 70,000 early votes broke a record here in South Carolina. And so in our primary, probably in the general election in South Carolina, when you go to the poll, they'll ask you you vote by party affiliation. Basically, they'll say, do you want a Democratic or Republican ballot? And apparently the Democratic ballots were 6, 7, 8 times the Republican ballots that were counted the first day. Second day, I haven't seen those numbers, but as a matter of fact, without me guessing anymore, but I'm pretty confident that first day of early voting number was around 70,000. My guess, she is the representative for the state of South Carolina, District 116. She's been on the show. She's a part of the Geno Jones Show family. So she's been so gracious to join me, because I know she's got another event. So I got about, let's see here. So I'm going to shut up, because I roughly got about, 20 minutes of her time. Ladies and gentlemen, there you see Black woman magic on the screen. My dear friend, Miss Representative from the great District 116, Miss Courtney Waters. Hello, Representative Waters, my sister. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, and I'd be remiss if I didn't correct you in that I'm 113. 116 is down in Hollywood.
Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, but hold on. Then I don't wear glasses, but somebody gonna say, then maybe you need to get some glasses.
No, and I could have told you.
I looked at it wrong. You know what? That's what happens. You should never try to read a text. Kids, don't do this in a car. Never try to read a text when you are driving. That's what happened. So you're right. So my bad. Thank you for correcting me.
No, no problem at all. Listen, they're just numbers that, as you know now, have been haphazardly drawn by men who, seek to hold themselves in power. And so these numbers don't really mean anything until it's time to show up and vote. And that's when they mean everything. Just to give folks a picture, early voting. So there were 56,407 votes cast on Tuesday.
Okay.
And 45,966 of those were cast by voters of the Democratic Party. In total, when you add the first 2 days, there were 90,460 votes cast, according to the State Election Commission.
Okay, thank you. Because the last numbers I got were, maybe earlier today, and they were probably a day late. I saw a number like 70,000, but I guess they tallied up some more votes. So the total vote was 90,000.
Yes. And everybody, it also depends on when you got the number. So and this is why I'm only counting Tuesday and Wednesday, because I don't even want to get into what happened today, because to your point, I mean, it's just fluid. But, the reality is this was record turnout. And I posted a video on my social media just thanking voters, because the reality is people showed up and answered the call this time in a way that has never happened before. And so, I think the Republican Party, had to eat crow, and deal with the fact that they overplayed their hand in this instance. And Democrats finally got a win, which was just so desperately needed in South Carolina.
Now, Courtney, I go back. I want to make sure I got those numbers right. So the first day, total tabulation of all votes were right around 90,000, right?
In the first 2 days, total was 90,460.
Okay. And
on the first day, it was 56,407.
Okay. And of those, how many you said were Democratic ballots?
On the first day, 45,966 were cast by voters of the Democratic Party.
Out of 50,000?
Out of 56,000.
Wow.
So a little over 10,000 were cast by Republican primary voters. And I think it's multifold, right? They're not that motivated to turn out because Donald Trump is embarrassing them, number one. He's not doing anybody any favors right now. And then I think too, they didn't really have the spark ignited because they're not being oppressed. This is where we start to see, like, when you oppress and suppress people, they don't take it but for so long. When you're dealing with folks who have had nothing, they've sort of invented these problems, but they're not like real problems for them, right? Like, I'm being a little cheeky, right? Like, Republican voters do have problems. For one, they're voting against their own interests.
Yes.
But in this world that they've created for themselves, everything is going their way. And so the motivation wasn't there like it was for Democratic voters. And I would say, the last thing I'd be remiss not to say is people who were Democrats, Republicans, independents, third party, Green Party, whatever, were equally frustrated by this move to do mid-decade redistricting, because it's just foolish. It's short-sighted. It violates people's rights. It would have muddied the waters. And we can get into that. I know you have some questions, but we can get into some of the reasons why even our Republicans back down.
I want you to go there. Don't worry about, because we just having a conversation, and I want you to go there because my next question, ironically, was going to be, first, I had a theory. I made a statement on the show several times, and it's funny because one of your state senators, who was from the MAGA ilk, basically echoed something I said. So when all this talk of redistricting happened here in South Carolina, I said no. I want them to go ahead and do all the bigoted, all the racist stuff. Show us who you are. Don't hide it. Just do what you're gonna do it anyway. So don't hide. In my neighborhood, it was a saying: don't throw a rock and hide your hand.
That's right.
Stand 10 toes down with your full chest and let all the bigoted, racist, misogynist sexist, all of that. Just
Right.
let it out so people can see. I said, but what's going to happen is one thing about black folks. I've been black 6 decades just about now. One thing I know about us is that sometimes if you leave us alone, we'll be cool and we may not be amped and activated. But if you piss us off and try to take something from us and disrespect us, it's like, okay, that's what we doing. Got you. And I think my politically, this is not a politically educated guess. This is just my own theory and speculation from living as long as I have. But I also wanted to know how much of that incredible, because like when the polls opened Tuesday, there were lines. I saw people, there were like lines like they were going to see Usher and Chris Brown. There
In
were
multiple counties.
Yes, at these polling places. How much of that played a part, if in any? I'm pretty confident it did, but you're right there in Columbia, in the State House. How much of that show of force, like before the polls opened, influenced the vote where the state Senate said, maybe we don't want to do this?
Yeah. So, there's a delineation here between the House and the Senate and the way that we operate. The House has far more people in it who are willing to sort of carry the torch for Donald Trump. And the Senate has people who are like equally willing to, but not to the detriment of South Carolina's integrity, like the infrastructure of the integrity of South Carolina's infrastructure. And so, number one, there were already votes cast when the House started debating this. And by the time by the time Friday rolled around,
Friday. Okay.
Actually, no, Monday. By the time Monday, which would have been around May 14th was supposed to be our last day. That was Thursday. So around May 17th or 18th was Monday, somewhere around there. By the time that date rolled around, over 2,100 ballots absentee had already been cast.
Right.
And we were going to ignore that anyway. We also had not been able to appropriately review those maps because, they were drawn up by some fella from Virginia who didn't even have the decency to show up in person at our judiciary hearings. Did not show up in person and had a hard stop at 10 o'clock for a meeting that began at 9 a.m. So to be clear, like he did not avail him. Like he drew these maps, gave them to us, said use them, and then had limited availability to offer up to not only our elected officials, but our people to really question and hear back from him on what this was about. So there was a lot of homework.
I just got to pause you on that point because I'm listening. I'm saying, what the hell does somebody in Virginia, what the hell do they got to do? How you going to draw up lines for people to live in South Carolina and your ass is in Virginia? How does that happen?
The question how is really critical because not even our legislators knew how and what data exactly he used. But I would say, his title was like something of the Republican National Republican Redistricting Trust.
Okay.
So his authority came from the fact that he's a Republican Party operative. And this map was drawn by him with the power given to him by the Republican Redistricting Trust, not the state of South Carolina. And so, number one, that all happened in the House. Votes already having been cast, questions not being answered, all kinds of nonsense. When it gets over to the Senate, we knew ahead of time that the Senate Majority Leader was not in support of this. And he was not in support of this, not because he wanted to do the right thing, but because he did not want to stoke the ire of Black people. So, and he said so on the floor, as I'm sure you heard. He's like, we should not do this. Like, you're going to bring out Black voters. And he was right. And
I thought he was listening to my show, because when I heard that, I'm like, oh, somebody else is kind of smart, figured it out. But I was shocked to hear it coming from him, knowing where he stood politically. I was like, okay,
That's right. That's right. And so when they attempted, even before the Senate received the maps, even before we voted on the maps, we have to vote on what's called sine die. The sine die resolution is just the resolution that ends session and defines the terms under which we could be brought back. Okay. So the Speaker of the House could bring us back for certain things. The governor could bring us back for certain things. The Senate, the Senate sent us over a clean sine die, which meant like clean, meaning it was just business as usual. It ends session on May 14th. House signs it off. We got our joint resolution. We go home. Well, the House chose to amend that resolution. Even before we started hearing the map debates, we had seen a map that we knew may or may not be the map we were going to be discussing. And we received a clean sine die resolution, which the House voted without Democratic support, of course. But the House voted to amend that sine die resolution and say that the Speaker, at that time, the Speaker could bring us back to discuss these maps. The Senate received it and 5 Republicans voted against it, so it did not pass. And that is why the governor ended up calling us back, is because there was not a joint resolution passed in between the House and Senate to determine that the Speaker of the House or the President of the Senate could bring us back, because there was not. And so this gets to your question around how did we get here to this failing? Well, there was already hesitancy on the part of some Republican senators. For whatever reason, they didn't want to do this either. And so the House, like, we fast tracked it, even though, you know, we put up about 600 amendments on the bill on by Friday morning. By Monday, we got back, they changed the rules and required us to take all of our amendments down. And those amendments were put up just to delay the debate, right? Like, there were not 600 substantive arguments. I'm sure, but it's just now you got to hear us talk about it. Now you got to vote it down. You know, this takes time. So our goal was just to delay. But they changed the rules. 7:07 p.m. on that Monday. They noticed the meeting. 7:15 they had the meeting. They changed the rules to require us to remove our amendments. Each member would then get to put back up one amendment, speak on that amendment for 3 to 5 minutes. I don't remember which one. And then subsequently, once those amendments were done, we could speak on the bill itself for up to 10 minutes. And after that, debate would be over. So around 8:30, 9 o'clock Tuesday, we finished all the amendments and all the speaking on the bill. And then some of us thought, we had been corrected, but I don't think we cared at this point. It was just like, delay it by any means necessary. We were like, okay, if we get to midnight, we delay it for another day. But they don't use like days, like 24-hour days. They use legislative days to determine a day. So because we had not adjourned, even though we asked for the bill to be read, which took several hours. And our reading clerk, who I love, Bubba, I mean, he read that thing. And, you know, people were upset at the Democrats because they had to sit in their seat, because people had to come back from wherever they were in their homes into the chamber. But the Democrats did not require us to sit there through that bill. A Democrat asked that the bill be read, but in retaliation, a Freedom Caucus member called for Rule 3.9, which meant everybody had to be sitting in their seats, listening attentively. And that meant the state troopers were sent to go collect anybody who wasn't in the room. What? So we were literally locked in the chambers.
Wow.
To listen to the reading of this bill. And it was the pettiest, most ridiculous moment. But we were like, you know what? And some people were really upset. But, you know, I was cheering on the person who called for it. I was like, you stand strong. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you sign up to be in these elected positions to do the work. And like, if this is so consequential, even if you can't win, you put up a fight in moments like this. Yeah. You put up a fight so that people recognize that it's then their turn to go put up their fight. And that's what they ended up doing, because they saw that there was something to fight for. Imagine if we had done nothing and just let this pass. Just imagine.
Yeah, it would have been deflating. Especially, it would have been deflating for the black voters. It would have been deflating for the voters who were not black, who would just knew that this was wrong, or who stand against all the bigotry and hatred and everything connected to the regime and all the policies that, like you said, not just hurt, you know, black Americans, they're hurting these poor white and working class white folks. Because when you go to pump that gas and you got to put 93 in that new car of yours, it don't matter. You can have on a red MAGA hat or whatever kind of hat you want to have on. That $5
That's right.
a gallon is gonna be $5 a gallon, no matter who you are.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, and so when it got over to the Senate, there was already an understanding that they wanted to push it off as far as they could. And so, what I would say is we had a marriage of two sort of convenient situations. We fought, and then there were some Republicans who wanted to delay it as well. And so when the Senate got it, they started hearing in full committee. They went straight to full committee. They didn't even have a subcommittee. They heard that on Thursday, brought it to the floor Friday. They debated a bit. They debated a bit on Saturday. They chose not to come back on Sunday or on Memorial Day and wait until Tuesday at 11 a.m. to convene, by which time many, many people would have voted. And so it was this sort of convenient interplay, like this dance between the few Republicans who wanted to holding off on cloturing, because cloturing is stifling the debate, cutting it down significantly to where you can hurry up and get through it, but they didn't have the votes to cloture the debate. So that means not all the Republicans were interested in stifling the debate, which means really some of them were interested in dragging it along. And so you put up the fight, you give them permission to drag it along, because they can't do that on their own, right? Because then they're disobeying, their leadership. So it really was, I think, working together between Democrats and Republicans, even if we weren't in the same room, reading from the same playbook for the same reasons, people believe in the right to vote. I mean, it's sacred. And there are some people for whom even Donald Trump can't change that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, listen, I know I got about probably 5 minutes, a little less.
10 minutes or so.
Okay, so I want you to give us our marching orders. Early voting goes until next Friday. Election Day is June 9th. Election Day is, listen, y'all, Election Day is CP voting. That's CP time. We need to show up like we did yesterday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and today. Don't play games. We had thunderstorms. These folks, because these folks, Courtney can tell you, they're not done. All right, we kind of put them back on their heels. They're not done. So we have to continue to like the way downtown Charleston floods. You could spit on the sidewalk and it floods. We gotta flood the polls. We gotta show up and just and flood the system. So all they can do is just be upset. So give us our marching orders, that everything that you're telling your constituents and voters what we need to do to continue to mobilize, organize, but to keep your foot on the gas here. Keep it back in the hood on the south side. Keep your foot on that neck. You got to keep that pressure on. So give us our marching orders, Courtney.
Yeah, I would say number one, if you've already voted, now your job is to go get 5 people that haven't voted and get them to the polls. Because it's historic that we got the 90,000, but one of my constituents, shout out to Dana, was like, look, this was probably the population of folks who were going to vote anyway. They just did it early. They answered the call, they did it early. Now we got to go and get those folks who haven't voted. Because they're gonna think, and Republicans would want. Now, keep in mind, I mentioned we aren't reading from the same playbook or motivated by the same reasons. The Republicans that wanted to stop this they want it also to go away. They want some of this energy to die down so that come November, they don't have this groundswell to contend with.
Yes.
And so for us, it has to be that this is not a one-time deal. Now it is recognize that the reason they thought that Donald Trump believed he could do this is because he believed that we would do what we've always done, which is to not show up, which is not to pay attention. And so this is the opportunity. Don't let it be enough that they chose not to do it. Let it be enough for you that they considered playing around with your vote.
And that they would do it again.
That right. Let it be enough that they weren't spinally erect enough to say no in the first place. So the call now is, if you voted, you got to find 5 people in your network who are either not yet registered or registered and sometimes go and sometimes don't go, and you got to get them to the polls. because the data that they were working on is insufficient and incomplete because we're in the middle of a decade. So they were basing this on the 2020 census, which had all kinds of problems that, as we know, because of COVID and everything
yes.
else, but even still was 6 years old at this point. And so they don't know where these people are. I have a data point that says 395,000 extra people are in this state today than were in 2020.
Wow.
Those people are somewhere. And the maps that guy from Virginia was using were so inappropriately drawn that so as to consider precincts that have actually closed.
Wow.
Precincts that didn't exist anymore were on those maps. So that tells you they're operating with limited data. And this is the time where we can overwhelm them because of it. What has happened is they've really exposed their short-sightedness and their ill-preparedness. And this is how you win. You take advantage of your opponent's strengths. And when you're on the losing end, as Democrats are in South Carolina, you have to take every weakness as an advantage. And so now the job is to get as many people to the polls as possible because they don't even know what's coming.
Courtney, to close out, I want you, all right, we're going to take a journey. I'll rock with you. Me and you, I want you to take a journey. I want you to give me the conversation, the pitch to the couch, because we know that the biggest voting block was the couch, was the brother, the black man is like, well, none of these politicians give a damn about me as black man, or my vote don't count, or they two birds. Let's take a walk into the barbershops, old school, as they say, beauty salons, to the card games, to the sorority and fraternity little get-togethers. When you get together with your girls and bottle of wine, or the guys watching the game or whatever. The why this is so important, and why they should, even though they don't think that, well, man, I don't do politics, or my one vote. You've heard it all. So I want you to have that conversation and close with that pitch to those, the non-voter, the couch.
Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as this. We need you. We actually can't do any of this without coalition, and everybody has value in this process. Even if you don't feel it personally has done anything for you, recognize that you can't shift that if you're not participating. And you matter. Like you have value, your voice matters. And when you participate and when you know exactly what's wrong, then you can fix the problem. When you speak theoretically, at a 50,000 foot level about what's happening, and it's clear that you don't understand what your representatives are doing for you, what your county councilmen, city councilmen are doing for you, then you have no power. And so we need you more than anything else. We need you to understand the power that you hold. And then we need you to use that power to either get people out of seats if you don't want them, or to focus the people who are there on the issues that matter to you. But you have value and you have power, and we just need you to exercise it.
Representative Waters, that's what we love you. You heard the sister. You've got value. You've got power. You really got power. You got more. As a matter of fact, you have more power than you realize. And the folks that don't want you to vote, they realize it too. That's why they're working so hard and playing all these games to keep you from voting. Because if your vote didn't have power, they wouldn't bother trying to redraw district. Wouldn't give a damn. They'd be like, hey, do what y'all want to do. Show up.
Fall where they may. Right.
That's right. All right, Representative Waters, let everybody know where they can follow you, social media, where they can support you and everything you're doing in the State House and all your work. Listen, representatives like campaigns need volunteers and phone bankers, and they need money to get to support.
Yeah.
So let everybody know how they can support and follow you and learn more about what you're doing up there in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, certainly you can donate to my campaign at CourtneyWaters.com. You can follow me at _Courtney Waters on Instagram. And I think that's how you get me on Facebook too. Also, if you want to really get active, District 113 is the bluest district in Charleston County with the lowest voter turnout.
What?
Which means we got a lot of Black folk in the district who believe their votes don't matter, or who are so used to the district going blue They believe they don't need to show up for us to win. But we've got a lot of down ballot races. We got Tamara Curry running for probate judge. We got a black man, Jermaine Johnson, running for governor. We got a black woman running for comptroller general, Tiffany Boozer. We got a black man is running too. I just don't.
Sylvia running for the school
Sylvia Wright running for state superintendent. I mean, we got people up and down this ballot who need your support. And at the end of the day, if you live in the bluest county with the lowest voter turnout, you are wasting a political advantage that you have. And so my goal sitting in this seat for as long as I do is to turn up and turn out the vote in District 113, because if they come out, they're going to vote the right way. We just got to get them out.
So Representative Waters, I am offering, and I know I don't need to tell you this, we've talked about it, but whatever my voice, influence, celebrity, whatever adjective you want to attach to it, whatever that I can bring to the table to help get that turnout, because I'm always talking about it on the show. You and I talk about it off camera. But yes, feel free to use me as a vessel, or as the Stingrays do, as a hype man.
Yes. You want to know something funny? I know I'm supposed to be letting you go, but right before this, I was on the phone with my best friend, and I grew up in Memphis. And so my best friend's from Memphis, and I was like, girl, guess whose YouTube show I'm getting ready to be on? And I reminded her of the jingle from when we were back home in Memphis, the Geno's on your radio. And she was like, are you serious? She was like, you about to meet with him? I was like, yeah, because girl, he lives in South Carolina now. She was like, you got to be kidding me. So I just, just say that to say it is, I always say that to you. It's like childhood nostalgia, being on here talking with you, because I used to listen to your show ride in the car with my mama back in the day. Oh my
gosh, she's making me sound and feel so old, but
no,
I know. I'm just clowning around. Listen, I am, and I told you this when I first got a chance to meet you, just before I met you personally, watching the way you move, and you've always had boots on the ground. This woman has boots on the ground. She's in the community when there ain't cameras around, because it's not about that. So they're politicians and public servants. You are looking at a public servant on the on your screen right now, and there's a big difference, and we need more public servants. Now I'm not shading politicians, but I have learned there's a difference.
There's a difference.
All politicians don't understand that really your job as a public servant. That politician, you could change that name out. So I just say I want to acknowledge the work that you do, that I've admired it, and that's why I'm always 10 toes down with your support. So I'm very serious. Whatever we can do, be creative, think about it. You'll call me and say, hey, listen, G, this is what I got going on. I need you to do this. But I am really serious in terms of doing what I've been doing since the show, and using the entertainment and celebrity, all that other stuff to, the mission is to empower the culture and the community and really humanity. But specifically, I start, in my community and my culture, because that's my true obligation, because the culture of my community made me who I am. So that's right. Me. Everybody else ain't wired that way. That's them. But I connect with people who are wired that way, and you were definitely wired that way. And that was one of the things I admired with you. So I'm ready, like the Avengers. We lock arms, come together like the Avengers, and let's get this done. Thank you, Representative Waters. You got a permanent home. Anytime you need to come here or want to come, and any message, anything you want to get out to the community, the culture, the world, because the great thing about YouTube, people can see it worldwide. You've got a permanent home. So we'll hopefully see you soon. Get out early, 8:30 till 5 Monday through Friday. Mm-hmm. Can they go, do you have a website? Can they go to your website or social media page? Do you have a location of the early voting locations here in the area?
Yeah, I've been sharing it on my social media. I can tell you off the top of my head, Morris Brown AME downtown, King Street, 4030 Corporate Road, which is the election commission. And if I got the address wrong off the top of my head, it's the election headquarters for Charleston County. Also, the library, is it the one in West Ashley? I'm gonna just post it. If you go to Rep_Courtney Waters, I'll be posting it every day. But also you can just Google where does early voting happen in Charleston County, and you're gonna end up being directed to a website that have all the counties listed, and you can drop down and see. So literally, like, just Google where can I vote early in 2026 primary, and it'll come up, or just where can I vote early in 2026, it'll come up for you.
And I know it's 8:30 until 5, Monday through Friday this week, so tomorrow, and up until next Monday through next Friday.
Yes. And then on Tuesday, they'll be there 7 to 7.
That's June 9th, right?
But don't wait.
June 9th?
Till the 9th. Yes,
June 9th, right. We're not waiting. June 9th is CP time. We ain't doing CP time. Thank you, Representative Waters. Thanks so much. We love you, and we'll see you back on soon.
All right, see you soon.
Thank you. What I said, I really meant. She is, even before I met her, just watching the way she moved in the community, in the city, just in the area, in her district, and not even her district. She's always there to be a public servant, and I really admire that about this, because boots on the ground. Trust me, this sister is. I've seen her out because I host a lot of functions and a lot of events, but listen. She is. I'm talking about when there is no election. She could just have won a race, or a year and a half before it's time for re-election. She is out, as they say, out in these streets, serving the community and serving her constituents and the culture and just South Carolina, period. So thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show, Monday through Friday. Like, share, subscribe. Let me say it again. Like, share, and subscribe. You can financially support the show via Zelle or Cash App. No amount is too small or too large. It's important we support Black-owned media, and my media company is Geno Media, so please continue to financially support the show so it can grow. We've got some big plans for the show and for the company. We're going to be doing shows. We'll be on location doing shows soon, so we need your financial help and your financial support. So, a couple ways. You can support the show, my media company, financially via Zelle, Geno Jones Show, all one word right there. Geno Jones Show, Geno Jones Show at gmail.com. Geno Jones Show at gmail.com, all one word. Or Cash App, all one word. $ Dad G Jones. $ capital D, lowercase a d, capital G J, lowercase ONES. $ Dad G Jones. Now, for all those running for office, I'm inviting everyone. Let me hold on. I'm not gonna lie. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Now, I'm welcoming those who are not coming on. You can't come here with the MAGA energy. It ain't about no partisan thing, because this is beyond partisanship. It is real simple. Either you support humanity, or you are leaning into inhumanity. And this MAGA energy is completely locked in, tuned in, leaning into inhumanity, bigotry, and hate. And a lot of it is self-hate, because you are supporting a regime that don't give a shit about you if you're not a billionaire, if you're not a white male, if you're not a white Christian male billionaire. Now, you got some of these billionaires that ain't Christian, but these folks, they're not even Christians, okay? They are just using the word Christianity to trick poor folks, especially these poor uneducated. Like your boy Orange Hitler said, he loves the poorly educated. His words out of his own mouth. I love the poorly educated. Well, his ass is poorly educated, and he went to good schools and didn't learn a damn thing. But I digress. So, but all those who want to come on that are going to lean into our common humanity and come on with solutions, and not with the energy of oppression and bigotry and misogyny and sexism, because it's my show. So I get to decide, All right. So, equal. No. I'm not going to give this, hate and bigotry and misogyny and sexism. This is not the platform for it. You got plenty of platforms, but this is not the place. So if you don't have that energy, you can come on and state your case. But for those who are running for office and they have campaign ads, if you'd like to advertise on the show or be a sponsor, feel free to reach out to me, GenoJonesShow@gmail. Use that same email address, GenoJonesShow@gmail.com, all one word, and we'll get you a sponsorship package, let you know what the ads will be to run your campaign TV ads. We got you covered. Shout out to Allie Jones. She is the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check her and her Lexi Jones collection out on Instagram, IGLX.NCL_. That's LX.N, like Nanette, my sister, whose birthday's today. C like Charlie Wilson. L like Lexi. LX.NCL. LX_NCL. LX_NCL. There you go. I want to keep throwing that dot in there. All right, everybody. Oh, shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on Instagram. Kel be cutting up. KELBECUTTINUP. Friday. Okay, it's kind of like a weekend review. There's still a lot I didn't get a chance to cover and talk about. So we're going to talk about. There's a lot of conversation about this whole Kevin Hart roast that was on Netflix. So I have a lot to say, but it's bigger. I'm just going to use the Kevin Hart roast and give you my whole perspective and my whole overview. I'm going to use that roast and some of the things that happened and some of the people who were on there and some of the quote unquote jokes. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that to have a larger conversation about commitment to the community, to the culture, or not, and how we have to stand up for each other in more ways than one. So it's going to be a deep. It's going to be intense because we got a lot going on. You have this kid, starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants, who was at a MAGA rally. There's been some conversations on that. So listen. So to sum it up, so to set it up for tomorrow, I will close and probably tomorrow open with, to paraphrase a phrase, a line from the iconic, legendary Maya Angelou. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. So people are showing us who they really are, who and what they really value, who they really care about or don't give a shit about. And I am glad that now it's like God has created a climate. Well, a lot of this ain't God. This is the enemy, the devil, whatever you want to call it, just that energy. But a lot is being revealed. People are revealing themselves for who they truly are. I'm sure there's some people that you've known for years and y'all were cool, and all of a sudden, Orange Hitler comes into power and folks feel they can fly their freak flag of racism and bigotry, and then this is what we're doing now. Oh, this is who you really were all the time. Oh, so it was just an act. You were just fronting, or it was transactional. You were cool with me because I helped you make money, or I taught you something, or whatever it was, whatever the attraction, whatever the trade-off was. But now folks are revealing, even folks that look like you and me are revealing who they truly are and what they truly value, who they truly value, and who are they really 10 toes down with and for, and who are they going to stand up for. Oh yeah. And personally, I love it. Like I said, say it with your full chest, 10 toes down, loud and proud. Let me know. Don't smile in my face. Smiling, there's a song way back in the day. Smiling faces, sometimes they don't tell the truth. Can you dig it? Smiling faces, sometimes they tell lies. And I got proof. Yeah, and I got a lot of proof. So that's going to be our conversation tomorrow. Hopefully K-Love will be able to join us. I know she is, of course, Miss Plus Size Charleston, so she's part of her reign. She's hosting all kind of events. But listen, I'm ready to go now, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow. So we'll have a whole show. Thanks, everybody. Once again, like, share, subscribe, tell everybody and leave your comments in the comment section below. Everybody, leave whatever comments you have. Leave your comments, questions, or whatever in the comment section below. We will see you live Friday, yes, kicking off the weekend, the last Friday of May. Damn, it's almost June. That means the year is half over. Okay, we stop talking. Thanks, everybody. Love you. We'll see you live Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central Time, 4:30 p.m. on the West Coast.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.